Greetings and salutations, one and all. Welcome to episode 4 of Fractured Orders. I'm glad you all could be here in attendance with me and my crew. As you can see, they are all here, so fantastic. Perfect attendance so far. I'm super proud of them. Glad you all could be here today. It's going to be an exciting, wonderful time. We had a bit of a narrative session last time. We'll see if we can kind of ramp up put the screws to the players a little bit so they can make decisions. Glad you all could be here. I've had a wonderful week, and we'll go ahead and just get right into it because I don't want to waste any time. Let's see how the players have been all week and see what's been going on with them.
Oh, hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Speaking of which.
Speaking of cussing and cursing fire.
Fucking VAT can suck my dick. Sorry.
I don't know if anyone knows what that means.
I don't know
It's
either.
not important. It's
Kaiji
not.
seems to be having some issues or something because they were on and now they're off. No, I don't know if they're logging back on.
I'm sure he'll figure it out. He's a pretty smart dude.
Arguable.
Regardless, hello everyone. I'm glad you all could be here. Perfect attendance again, 4 weeks in a row. I'm proud of you guys.
Yeah, right?
However, without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into it and find out how everybody's week has been. Endless, why don't you go ahead and start? How's your week been? What's been going on with you?
It's been great. For the first time of the week, I drove solo since I got my license. Well, technically there was someone next to me, as a chaperone. In some cases, technically, my instructor said for the first few months to have someone be next to me, just to see my progress, and I was nervous the whole time. I mean, the thing is, most people would say, oh yeah, I could drive a car. I was nervous because, I don't know, I just feel like I might screw up something and cause an incident. Hopefully I didn't.
That's better than not being nervous, to be fair.
True.
Well, that's fantastic. Kai, are you with us? Okay, good. Mulan, why don't you tell us about your week and how it's been?
Pretty same old as usual. Not much to report. I hate paying taxes, and I'm going to Chicago tomorrow for a couple days to help my girlfriend clear out a storage locker that's there. So I've been getting ready for that.
Well, that sounds fun and exciting.
I'll see a bunch of her friends who I haven't met before, so it will be absolutely spiffing.
Why does your girlfriend have a storage locker in Chicago?
She came over to the UK as an intercompany transfer for a 1-year LTA, and she's changed that to being a permanent transfer. So she had all of her stuff stored, and
Gotcha.
We need to go and figure out what to do with all the bits and bobs and things. And
sell it all.
Pretty much. I'm sure there's some stuff she's going to want to bring back. I'm sure there's some stuff I'll want her to bring back.
Just remind her selling it is way more lucrative than trying to ship it over.
Yeah. No. Well, her company will pay for shipping. Some shipping, so.
Some. Operative term.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
We also have 3 big duffel bags that we can fill and bring back with us.
That's good.
But yeah.
It's 11 style.
Exactly.
Test number 2. Kai, are you with us? Hello.
Yes.
Oh, hello. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now that you are here, sir, why don't you tell us about how your week has been and what's been going on?
Been a good week. We've been really busy, just doing family stuff, going on visits, and football training and matches. It's been a great, busy week.
Well, good.
Good family stuff.
Busy with family stuff is good, I feel.
Yeah.
At least it's not busy with stressful stuff.
No, not so much. I also got to start something new at my work. I will now be writing about using the Raspberry Pi with Node.js. I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Very much. Yeah.
Fantastic. You'll have to keep us updated on that. I'm always into those kind of projects.
Yeah. Sure.
Toasty, tell us about your
Yes.
week, how it's been.
It's been relatively boring this week, amazingly enough.
Well, there was no eclipse, so I mean, what could honestly top that, right?
Well, you never know when we're gonna like just fucking bail on whatever, bail on the house, I guess, and go wherever. No, this week has been mostly just like ferrying people to their doctor's appointments and fighting with the pharmacy mostly. So,
Neither of those
That's
things
fun.
sound particularly fun, though.
well, yeah. I mean, I like bringing my friends to their doctor's appointments and stuff because it's something that I can do. But yeah, fighting with the pharmacy is not fun. They don't know how to count apparently. One of my medicines has like 3 tablets once a day, and they gave me 30 tablets, which means that it's 10 days worth of tablets, so 30 days worth of tablets.
Oh,
So,
good. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I have to go fight with more.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
You would think, since they're a pharmacy and counting is like 99% of their job, they would know how to do that.
Yeah. I think I would hope so, but I guess not. I mean, whatever. My insurance pays for it, so I'm not gonna complain too much. But I guess I don't know. Just weird to have to go back to the pharmacy that I was just at, explain to them basic math concepts.
Well, that should be fun. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I hope that goes. I hope they're just like, oh, our bad, and then just everything
Yeah,
works out
just
fine.
hook me up with more medicine.
Yeah, hopefully that's how it goes for you. Z, what about you? How's your week been?
Crazy. Moved the girlfriend on Sunday. Found out that the washer and dryer isn't working. That led to finding out that the plug, like I showed in Discord, has been fried. So there's that we've been dealing with and have to get that replaced. Working on procuring a dishwasher for her, and just doing all sorts of final move-in stuff. So,
Well, your week sounds the most active, at least, out of almost everybody.
yeah.
Certainly me. This week was particularly uneventful. Worked some extra hours this week though, so that'll be nice on the paycheck. Actually got settled on a new apartment complex potentially where I'm moving. So hopefully that'll be nice. They have really really good internet there for very inexpensive, and I'm pretty happy about that.
That's good. Is that in a different state or still in Florida?
No, different state.
Okay, so that's the move you've been talking about.
Yes, correct.
Cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, so it's gonna be good. I actually didn't know that it was common to offer 1,000 down on internet, but that's pretty good. Just literally just a gig down.
Yeah,
But they
so I'm
in an area with Google Fiber or something.
No, actually, it's CenturyLink, which was
Weird.
confusing to me that they offer that because that seems above and beyond. But it is in Colorado, which is pretty progressive when it comes to internet stuff. So that may have something to do with it. But I'm pretty excited about that because right
Where in
now,
Colorado?
right now I pay more for less. So I'm excited to pay less for more. It's gonna be great. Denver.
Oh, cool.
Sounds
I spend a lot of time in Colorado. Like I go there like twice a year.
So should be
Cool.
should be good. Excited to get that all hooked up. Other than that, it's been business as usual. I'm still trying to get used to my new Wednesday, Thursday off. It was nice having a day off before games yesterday. Whereas normally my first day off I have to prepare for a game all day. But speaking of the game itself, to do a quick little recap last time, all of 7 days ago, I wouldn't say it was an uneventful session, but it certainly was a more tame session from the daring escape that you guys made from Remnant Space the session before that. Although, to be fair, it'd be kind of hard to top ejecting people out of...
That was an accident.
Correct.
Sure.
I mean, that people died was an accident.
I mean, ejecting them out of the airlock was an accident.
Yes, pure accident.
Like, if anybody asks, and I'm not saying anybody will.
Yeah.
It was an accident.
Like, if there was any questions, it was an accident. So last week we had some cool narrative action. We guys, you finally registered the ship, so you all are part owners of the ship now, which is great. You don't have to make payments. There's nothing like that going to be coming down the pipe, and you can freely kind of traverse through most known space without running into any problems. Obviously, going to Remnant with a ship that's been registered in the Commonwealth is going to set up some red flags, and they're probably going to be subject to search. But at least you're not flying around in a unregistered ship, which could be considered stolen, right? Like, that's the big deal with not having your ship registered, is that means it could be a stolen ship, and so obviously areas with law enforcement want to crack down on that. However, you guys were able to do that. We found out, Jax, you turned in your data that you had gotten from that mission. We had retrieved some droid parts to start fixing our poor little protocol droid head.
Yay!
We had encountered some strange kind of waves within the Force, relative to Dash's obligation, which had come up in a big way with this individual RK, his previous commander, basically.
It was Monitor, damn it.
His previous commander, who was
Mentor.
kind of, well, I mean, he was your commander too, but yes.
He was?
Well, yes, yeah, we specifically talked about that.
Mentor and commander.
Yeah. So that kind of came up in a big way and got the crew embroiled in something maybe they weren't expecting to become embroiled in, with the Janus Corporation, run by the individual Lucia Janus. And the Janus Corporation is a essentially kind of like mob-like entity that exists on Corellia and some of the nearby planets as well. They run a series of casinos and that sort of thing. And RK had originally said that he owed them money, and they were after him for that. After dealing with some thugs that came to retrieve him, the group had brought him back to the ship to keep him in safety, but some influencing later from our resident sage had preyed upon the fears of RK to convince him to tell you the real story, which was they were after him because he had been kind of hired under the table. Basically, he'd been given a stack of credits to drive Lucia Janus's lover around, and to, while driving him around, lead him down into this alleyway where he was subsequently kidnapped and taken away. And so the Janus Corporation is looking for RK to question, in air quotes, question him about the incident. And that's why he's been on the run and now has kind of landed in your lap in search of safety. So I would say in this instance the better morals of the crew, or I should say the morals of the crew got the better of them, and they decided that we can't just allow, someone who's so important to Dash and this poor individual to be tortured and possibly killed by the Janus Corporation. So we're going to help. I think that the crew eventually decided that we're going to help kind of solve the mystery of the kidnapping, right? That was sort of the rough plan, which I'm sure we'll talk about more as it goes on later here today. But that was sort of the rough plan as it came up. Was to solve the kidnapping, preferably without becoming involved in some conflict with Janus Corporation or the kidnappers themselves, or maybe the kidnappers themselves, if that is necessary. So, all of that being said, the crew had a long conversation about what to do and how to do it, and decided upon inevitably helping RK out of his situation. Hooray, exactly.
Yay. Yay.
Same thing. So I think that the important thing to note here is the beginning of this session, we find our crew kind of probably like preparing, and you know, to do whatever the next step for them is, whether it's, you know, build a robot or go out and find information or do whatever they're doing. But we see everybody kind of segregated and on their own. And Jax, this is the part where I regret to inform you that your obligation has been triggered in this session. So Jax, during you're looking through some information, or you're at your comlink, and you get a message from Harvey, who's the your contact that you gave all that data to.
Yeah.
And he says it's simply like a message. It doesn't really say much of, or it doesn't really come with like a return or a need for reply. But what it does say is, in reference to your previous conversation about like what you could do to help. He actually says that he contacted the syndicate, and they requested that because of your proximity to the incident that you were involved in, they request that you do not pursue any leads on that and allow them to do their job. And so I think that probably like irks you a little bit, like, you know, I can help, I was there, etc., etc. But the syndicate basically tells you to, if you're going to help, do it in another way, leave this to us, which obviously is part of your obsession with trying to discover what happened, and these people who you are also trying to get in good with again are telling you not to follow that. So it's going to cause some strain for you, and I think that via you, the rest of the crew, you're not quite there. Maybe you seem distant, maybe you seem you know, however, it's not obviously going to play as big a part as it did with Dash, where there's a whole you know, there's a whole storyline behind it, but it does kind of grate on you. So everybody in the party, can you reduce your threshold by 1 of your strain threshold? And Jax, if you could reduce it by an additional 1, please.
This always happens.
So this is the part where I say the reason why this has come up twice in a row already is because you guys have really high obligation right now. Because everybody took some extra obligation to start out with, and nobody's really worked to reduce it. Now, you're actively working to help Dash out, for sure, reduce some of his obligation. But just remember that the more people that have obligation in the party, the more often it's going to come up, and the more often you're going to be hit with this mechanical
I was going to ask, actually,
loss.
Did I pay off any obligation by handing in that data? Like 1?
No, so not yet. As we described that particular obligation, once we're going to do it kind of as a balance with your duty. When you gain duty based on what you're going to do, you're going to reduce your obligation. It's going to kind of go in tandem like that. So I think from here on out, should you discover any information or anything that you wanted to, anything that's going to be helpful to the syndicate, maybe, I mean, it could be simply like telling them the major players in a city they're trying to get into, right? Like it could be something as simple as that, to reduce your obligation and increase your duty. Cool. And obviously finishing off the storyline for Dash is going to reduce his obligation to, you know, to protect and help RK in this situation. So
Or story arc.
Yeah,
Maybe.
absolutely.
I don't know. Kind of sounds like an arc.
And then also everybody has their own personal obligation that they can work on. as time comes. But until it's lowered, it's going to happen a lot more often, because I think you guys currently have like 70 something out of 100. So only like 30% of the time is it not going to happen, and I rolled pretty low this time, so it was a definite going to happen moment. This one. So that being said, it's best to maybe get a very quick update on where all of our characters are, but most importantly, I think we need to find out how powerful the destiny is in this particular day that we are conducting.
Destiny time.
Yeah, so let me clear the destiny real quick. Clear pool. There we go.
I'm ready. I'm so
All right, so let's see if we can get some light side points.
Boom!
Hey!
Boom!
Wow. Okay.
I always roll the same thing.
All
Like
right.
it's pretty consistent. Like every week.
Me and Dash are carrying you into
So-
the Force right now. Jedi boy, pick it up.
So somewhat conversely to how it happened last time, where it was all dark side, the destiny is slightly more in your favor this particular run. It's gonna be 4-3 here in the destiny tracker. So you guys have a small advantage going into this one, which is great. It's probably important since you're going to become embroiled in some kidnapping scheme / conflict, or whatever, trafficking may be going on, or whatever the heck's going on. I'm sure we'll find out as you guys discover it. But the destiny is slightly more in your favor. So I want to quickly go around the table, find out what everybody, after the conversation that was had, kind of like, we're going to help this. It's going to help our crew out. And also it's going to maybe get us some favors, or, because the other deal is, if you, and I think this is something nobody really brought up, but I want to mention it. If you help out the Janus Corporation and solve this for them, you could even earn a favor for them, right? Like that's the other side of the coin, is if you do this well enough, they might, help you out in some way because of their gratefulness. If that's something that you want to pursue, that is something to keep in mind. Very quid pro quo in the Star Wars galaxy, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
So quickly, I want to go around the table. We'll start with Zian, because you're all the way on the left for the active PCs. That has no various order. I think it's just how I created the tokens. So Zian, after the conversation is had about, like, yes, we're going to help them, maybe you didn't win the argument. I don't think it was much of an argument. It was just kind of a discussion. But how do you prepare yourself to go into this investigative mode? I don't know if this is your strength. And also, if you wanted to mention, you received... This is probably a couple of days or hours or whatever later. Which is why I've cleared everybody's strain as well, by the way. You've also received a message. You can reveal that or not reveal that. It's totally up to you.
Not revealing it for now.
Okay. All right, cool. So the only thing that we know is you did receive word back from your master about the message that you sent. But how do you go about preparing? And also within this, did you spend any experience from last time?
I did spend experience. Now I have the full Jedi mind trick going on.
Cool. So what does that entail?
It is an upgrade to the influence power. You can do an opposed discipline versus discipline check with the influence power. If you succeed and spend a force point, you can force the target to adopt an emotional state or believe something untrue lasting 1 round or 5 minutes. Which seems very useful if we're going to talk to people.
Yeah, absolutely. You can make them talk to you.
And as for preparing...
Shouldn't be relevant.
Yeah.
What?
He said it's
How
going to
much
be
you
relevant, I think.
No, I said it shouldn't be relevant.
Oh.
A joke about how I'm going to shoot everyone first.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah. As for preparing, he probably... Zian meditated after receiving his response, and he has started to kind of make inquiries about certain crystals. And maybe has, like, Jack seems to have some contacts, might know some people. He might have talked to Jax about finding a specific crystal that fits certain parameters.
Yeah. So what does that conversation look like? You find Jax maybe like after the meeting. Jax, you're probably preparing like weaponry or something, right?
Yeah, playing with my gun.
Yeah.
Tinkering
So
with the gun.
you
That's
find
what
him
it
in
is.
like the an empty cargo hold or something.
Friend Jax, it occurs to me that you have many connections in various parts of the world. I could be more effective as a healer if I had a specific type of crystal that I can help focus and kind of meditate on. And he's saying this is like kind of like, you know, like a crazy pants folksy healer kind
Yeah, I
of
get
thing.
you. Jax just raises one eyebrow and looks at him skeptically. And then, what kind of crystal exactly? There's lots of crystals.
I describe these crystals. I don't. In the game, it gives like the specific types, but they are usually just crystals that can modify light in a certain way, and so it includes per book, at least base book, and I'd have to look into some of the extra Force of Destiny stuff. Things like a Barab ingot, a Dantari crystal, a Dragite gem, an Ilum crystal, though that's very obvious of what the purpose of it is.
Right.
Crate Dragon Pearl, Lordian gemstone.
Yeah. You're looking
crystal.
like rare
Yes.
crystals that can be focused. Like
Yeah.
they're you probably like from Jax's perspective, they're probably like keepsakes of very powerful individuals. Would be a way to
Jax
describe
wouldn't
them.
know
or
that
maybe some
crystal
like
that you use to
archaeology.
focus light. Jax wouldn't know that a crystal that you use to focus light is integral in a lightsaber, would he?
I don't know. Does Jax know anything about lightsabers or the Force in general?
Make a lore check.
You could make a lore check if you wanted
Yeah,
to.
fuck it. Let's make a check, because I don't know. I don't know what I know. What check should I make?
So
Yeah, what check should I make?
Lore.
Talking about you. Lore?
Yeah, so the type of lore here that you want to make. I always forget to pull up.
Also, may I interject? Wouldn't only Force users feel the Force side of the thing?
What do you mean? Oh yeah.
You know, because Ilum crystals just like look like normal eyes, unless look through the eyes of a Force user, which of course reveals their actual unique ability.
Jax won't know about those. But yeah, it's totally a knowledge lore roll, and it's
Cool.
going to be hard because it's not common knowledge anymore.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay.
Your brain's racking. To
So
remember.
I think take all 3 strain there.
All right.
Just because you're like trying to delve into depths of knowledge you maybe don't know, or maybe it triggers a bad memory of some sort, right? Like, yeah, there was this one time I was on this backwater world, right? And
well, you know what we'll do? We'll say this. Jax is right. So if you look at last time when Xian did his little go away trick, and Jax was like, "People aren't possibly that stupid," and Jax is slightly averse to Force stuff in general. He takes the strain because he's starting to suspect that Xian might have some kind of weird Force tinkerings.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I go, all right, interesting. I want to ask why, but I'll keep my ears to the ground if you want.
Yeah, so your success.
I have a very skeptical look.
Yeah, your success here, Jax, to know about these things. You know some probably generalized areas where you've heard of people possessing these items, or heard of like special gems or objects being dug up in like archaeological digs, and they're kind of all the places you would suspect in the lore, quote unquote, that we all know as players. Places that are powerful in the Force are more likely to have these items and objects. So select a couple from your memory, and just you can have the knowledge.
I hear they have loads of these at BIS.
Yeah,
should we go there?
Exactly, 100%. But yeah, no, the general places you know the big 3 or the big 2, right? Yavin 4, where the assembly is, and anyone in the centrality over in Tund. right? Like those are the two overt force user factions that would obviously have access to these kinds of things.
Oh, sorry. I was doing the check to see if him describing a crystal that controls light would make me think
that was
at all lightsaber.
That was not what the check was. I thought the check was to know about it because that's what he asked you.
No. I was asking if he asked me for the specific type of crystal. Do I have any idea what that crystal could be used for?
Oh, well then, yes. It's the same roll, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, cool. All right.
That's just not what was described beforehand. So.
Okay. I said, yeah. I think I know a few places. I'll reach out and see what I can figure out.
I would be forever in your debt
Give
if we
him a
managed
little
to acquire something like this.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
Okay. So we move on. We move on to Mouse. So Mouse. First of all, if you spent experience, tell us what you spent that on, and maybe what that looks like, right, within the game. But also like how you're preparing or what you're doing in preparation for going out on an adventure.
Well, as far as what I've been doing is I've been trying to get the little protocol droid working actually.
Yeah.
Because Mouse doesn't really Mouse's primary goal right now is to fix that because that's a thing she can do. So as far as like upgrading skills goes, I did actually upgrade my mechanics because I've been doing a lot more of it.
Cool.
I feel like I am starting to grow as a mechanic.
Yeah.
Explore new opportunities. And then as far as like preparations go, Mouse is generally pretty nervous about getting into a fight with a bunch of goons and like getting her butt kicked, basically. She never really had to like fight on the slaver ship or anything like that, or the salvaging ship.
Yeah, now actually I do want to ask, and maybe this is personal, maybe Mouse hasn't shared this yet, but how kind were your, and I'm going to use the word owners, we all know that's bad, but how kind were your handlers, let's say? Because
I mean,
as we know in the Star Wars universe, sometimes you just get fed to a Rancor.
I mean, usually there's a reason for being fed to a Rancor, though. You have to like fuck up really to do it.
I mean,
we're just down in the wrong place.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you say so. I think that it's,
I guess
that's what I'm asking, is it depends on the level of like how kind or how understanding were your handlers.
So I mean, I feel like the more successful huts, the ones that don't get choked by slaves, are the ones that don't like randomly throw their subjects into the Rancor pits.
Sure.
And Mouse happens to be under one of the more successful huts, or maybe multiple successful huts. She might be like group property. But essentially she's useful, right? So they weren't especially mean. She never actually saw the huts. She mostly saw like the toughs that kind of kept everything in track.
Yeah.
And those people they were mostly just doing their jobs. They weren't excessively mean. Some of them might have like beat up on her every once in a while, or beat up on people every once in a while, but
yeah,
like only when they're like drunk or whatever.
Yeah, okay. So you had even though you were a slave, it wasn't like you were given 40 lashes every day or anything like that.
No, I mean, Mouse was particularly effective at her job, so there was really no reason to punish her.
Yeah, they had much more success with the carrot rather than the stick with Mouse.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Also, the fact that she didn't really leave the ship ever, so there wasn't really much else to do.
Right. Okay. So on the mechanics side here, do you want to try and make a mechanics roll to see if you can make any progress with this?
I would actually.
Okay, cool.
I I kind of think Kin is around trying to help.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
But he's really trying to help, so he might also be a hindrance.
Yeah, so I think that with that in mind, it's going to be a hard check. First of all,
Okay.
I'll add a black dice because Kin is like trying to tell you how to do your job.
Yeah.
I'm also going to upgrade it because there's a chance for catastrophic failure.
Okay.
Because there's just a natural chance for you frying the system and having to, you know,
Yeah.
find new parts and new scrap and stuff like that. So it's 3 purple, 1 black, or I should say 1 red, 2 purple, 1 black.
Okay.
Do you also get a blue die and a black die for help and hindrance?
Sure, I'll add a blue dice for Kin as well.
I do remove a black dice because I do have the gearhead.
Look
trait.
at that.
Yay.
So yeah, so even though like Kin is like hovering over you with his 8-foot tall frame, you're just like you drown him out, right? Like you just block him out.
Yeah,
and-
yeah. I'm just like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're too involved with the actual process to be hindered by
Yeah.
Kin. Okay, cool.
Are you ready for me? To
I'm
roll?
ready. Roll that
Okay.
mechanics check.
Let's do it.
Hey.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. So, what do you want to use the 1 advantage on? Could be kind of anything. I know you don't have any strain right now.
I think,
But it could be something like minor that occurs. Obviously, you got 3 successes, so that's really, really good.
I think that perhaps that the little protocol droid doesn't necessarily activate yet, but like there's a moment where like it starts to speak for just a little
Yeah, cool.
bit, and it's like I don't know what it's like yet. I don't know as far as like NPC, but it says a couple words to Ken.
Oh,
Or
don't worry.
Ken.
And I think that the droid, like, you see the eyes kind of flicker, and the mouth lights up, and it says, "Dings, I am C120," and then like spits out something, and then powers down. Because like whatever you had hot wired, like you're gonna have to find a more permanent solution. But
Yeah.
the multiple successes here are the fact that you're able to figure out, in addition to not like avoid destroying portions of its non-corrupted data, and it gives you for lack of a better term, a name, right?
C120. Yep. C120.
There you go.
Cedo.
So, Kin, how do you react to that?
Well, it's really weird seeing a 7-foot droid starting to jump up and down like an excited little girl, but it's kind of just squealing like, it's working!
I mean, it's sort of working, Ken. It still needs some things, but yeah, I mean, this is a good sign. Like we could probably fix it. I just need some more parts.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No problem.
All right, excellent, fantastic, well done. Do me a favor. This is what I do with some of my other games, and it's a good like able to kind of traverse systems. I want you to add to your character sheet somewhere, so you have a reminder, maybe in your notes section. I want you to add C120, and then next to that, put 1 out of 5.
Okay.
1/5.
1/5. I have a note actually.
Did I already give you one?
Yeah, me
Oh no,
too.
I already did it.
Oh, okay.
I already had like quests set up for myself.
Yeah.
But,
So I think that you've successfully passed like one of the 5 checks that you'll have to And some of those checks may not actually be checks. They may be like finding the correct parts to make a fully functioning droid. But I think that you've definitely got 1 out of 5 now. And so
Okay, cool.
as you progress down that path, we can check off all the way up to 5. And then once you have 5, that'll be you have a successfully recreated protocol droid.
And then yeah, as far as like preparing for the investigation,
Yeah.
like Mouse is already pretty smart. Like she's reasonably smart. She's not like a genius or anything, but I mean she's probably more apt to investigating than most people. What she's worried about is staying alive. So I actually picked up ranged heavy, a skill rank in ranged heavy, because she has been using a like slug thrower, or she's been carrying around a slug thrower. And originally this was just a piece of junk that she had to like
it was
prop up doors and stuff
basically
like
a
that.
walking stick, right?
Yeah, it was essentially something to like prop up doors or like to give her leverage. So I mean, it's a little bent. You know, it's not in the best condition. But it's serviceable. So I think she probably went to like, I don't know, Jax seems like the shooty guy.
That's right, guns, mate.
Yeah, Jax loves guns. So she probably went to Jax and wanted to learn a little bit about shooting.
Yeah. How do you approach that situation though? Mouse actively seeking someone out and talking to them seems a little bit out of character.
I mean, Jax and her have started to form a relationship.
Yeah.
In general, so I think it's a little easier. She'd probably be a little nervous. She'd be like, "Hey, Jax, you know, you're kind of the shooty guy, aren't you? You you know, you like to shoot people, right?"
I look up and I've literally got in front of me. My gun is like disassembled. I'm putting it back together, and I'm like, I guess.
Hey, so I have this gun. I've been carrying it around and stuff. And I was kind of worried that maybe like I was gonna get shot at. Do you think that's gonna happen?
You know, it's always a possibility, but with me and Ken around, I think you'll be okay.
Well, I mean, what if you and Ken get separated from me? Like, we did get separated on the ship for a while, right?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Do you want me to show you how to use that thing?
I mean, would you? That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want to really shoot people, but I guess knowing how would be good.
Yeah, I can definitely show you a few tips. I'm better with a pistol, but I can show you at least, you know, better ways to hold it and some tips about holding your breath at the right times and things like that.
Oh, thanks, Jax. Thanks, you're the best.
Cue
Yes.
training montage.
Yeah, so maybe we see a bit of a training montage, right? Where like Mouse, you're like down on one knee, like trying to hold the rifle, and you're like doing it all wrong, and Jackson's like behind you, like, no, you gotta tuck it into your shoulder like this, and then you use the sights here, and yeah, we get that little bit of training.
Yeah.
I imagine
the first shot
Sorry.
goes straight to Dash's coffee cup or a calf cup or something.
Yeah, no, I was
No.
imagining a scene where like where like Jax was setting up like, I don't know, cans or like little parts or something on like on a ridge to like to
Yeah.
shoot, and like somebody else was around with like a cup, and like Mouse's first shot just went
Perfect.
completely wide through their cup or something.
Perfect.
And Jax had to be like, no, you don't shoot like that.
Yeah, no. Try to aim at what you were hitting.
I imagine Mouse kind of holds the gun out like in front of her and like turns away before pulling the trigger or something.
Yeah, she's like super nervous to pull the trigger. Yeah.
Yeah. You like close your eyes the first couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. So you get a point in that for you now have some basic training in it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I think that's perfect jumping off point to talk to Jax. So Jax, you're feeling a little bit stressed out lately.
Yeah, so Jax is feeling a little bit stressed out. He's also been approached for help by 2 different people, and while he is, you know, happy to help and he's honored that people, seek out his help. He's also like, this is a bit too much people for me. So
Yeah.
he actually walks into town because he picked up that those 2 blaster pistols.
Yeah.
He gave the 2 knuckle dusters to Kin, by the way.
Yep.
Ken is a robot who likes to punch things with metal fists. I figured out more metal equals more fist, so I gave those to him.
Good.
And no one else seemed to have a use for the second blaster pistol, so he went into town to try and sell it. And he sells it to the storekeep, and then he notices that there's like a little laser sight thing, and then he's like, "Oh, how much is that?" And he can't afford it, so he ends up selling the second pistol as well, just so he can afford to put this pretty green dot.
Yeah, it's probably like I'm bad with my Star Wars races, but it's probably some race of alien who's like running the shop.
It's a Duro.
In fact, it probably is a Duros. Actually, that's a good point. It probably is a Duros because they like weapons. And he probably like you go back and forth a bit and work it out to where like may not work out exactly, but if you give me this, I'll give you this. Yeah, and you
once we reach the price and Jax realizes he can afford to pay for it if he sells the second gun, he kind of takes the second gun out and puts it on the table, almost threateningly, and then goes like, "What if I give you this as well?" And they make a deal.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get that thing that you want. Yeah,
cool. And because most of our interactions have been kind of quick, and Jax has had like one action, but it's been quite major. I've only used range light twice. Both times was with a grapple gun. Both times I got a triumph. So Jax has gotten better at reacting quickly.
Okay.
So I had 25 unused experience.
Yeah, what'd you spend it on?
So I picked up a point in rapid reaction, which means I can suffer a strain to add equal number of success to initiative checks.
Ooh.
Strain suffer cannot exceed rapid reaction. Rank to rapid reaction.
So you can add 1 success for 1 strain, basically.
Yes, exactly.
That's really good, though.
Yeah, he also got quick draw improved, which has been a bit of a waste considering he got rid of his second gun, but he's not always the smartest cookie. And he also got a rank of quick strike, which is add a blue dice per rank of quick strike to combat checks against targets that have not yet acted this encounter.
Awesome.
So again, Jax is all about, being the first to react and doing so in devastating fashion or tremendous, descriptive word fashion.
Excellent. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, so maybe we get a small montage scene of you like practicing the quick draw and fire, right? Like you do that a couple times on a.
When I'm training mouse at some point, I'm like, no, you gotta do it like this. I just pick up my gun and like quickly shoot something. And
right, exactly. Like without even looking.
Mouse looks at me and is like, come on, that's not even helpful. Like,
yeah, cool. Awesome. And obviously, I assume that kind of includes your preparation for going out on an adventure as well.
Indeed.
Cool. So, Kin,
Yes.
Let's talk to you for a moment. This is preparation for you to go out now, being the only droid member. You're kind of going as this bodyguard / enforcer, but is there anything specific that you prepare for? And as well, did you spend any experience?
Well, Kin is really just giddy after successful droid.
Sure.
And just if a droid could walk around whistling, he would. But he's just walking around and feeling really good. And he sees Dash, which is not in such a good mood. And he approaches Dash and asks him if he needs to relieve some of the tension and if he would be interested in just a bit of sparring.
Okay. Dash, do you take him up on that offer?
So Dash during the proposal of sparring, as the thing is, like, he was in the lounge area, just basically like going over what arcade and just kind of like in a way just like scolding him or just saying what are you thinking and stuff, and just asking him what he recalls or any specific details, just for Cayenne to show up and ask sparring. He basically looks at himself and then at the droid, and he says, Ken, I don't think I want to fight you, specifically you. I think you break me. I can.
But it's more you need to hit something that can take it.
Oh, if I need to blow a save, I can just get in the close call and fly. That's my coping mechanism. But thanks for the offer.
Yeah. Okay, so Kim starts walking down to the largest room, which I guess is like the hangar. Just going through
the lower hangar. Yep.
Yeah, just going through some moves and working on his unarmed skills.
Okay.
I've purchased another rank of parry.
So is that 2 ranks now?
Yeah, so I can parry 4 damage for melee or brawl.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. All right, awesome. And that includes your preparing, like you're preparing to go do that to people if necessary.
Yeah, I don't really need to prepare mentally, so it just I'm just getting ready.
Literally, you were created ready.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, and last but certainly not least, Dash. Why don't you tell us about if you spend any experience points and what possibly you might be doing to help prepare. You mentioned something about questioning RK about his what happened and all that stuff. Would you guys have basically all that information? Because unfortunately, RK doesn't have a whole lot more than that. He was there's a reason they paid some unknown somebody to do this, right? So he can't be connected to them in any way.
I mean, depending on experience point sake, I was considering coercion, basically using fear as he tried to, and then maybe he thought maybe he could use fear again because that kind of worked. But then he felt like it's wrong to mentally stress out someone he knows, and he's not really the most threatening person that he knows. So technically, he just maybe focuses on could I potentially be useful with the investigation. So basically, he spends most of his time just asking do you remember voices, faces? I feel like maybe they have something like those voice modification things, so they can be identified as well, or they didn't speak or something.
Yeah, so they probably didn't have voice modifiers, but they were masked and covered, and they had no descripting markers. So unfortunately, he's not able to tell you a whole lot about the people. The thing that he is able to give you is the location of the incident, where this happened. And he describes how it went down. There was a minor struggle between the captive and these people who took him. So maybe there's some evidence, at the scene. Who knows? Might be something you guys have to go and investigate.
I'm actually gonna ask, how long ago did this happen? The kidnapping?
He probably tells you it was a week ago.
Because I don't know if he's still dead or alive, or maybe they're actually holding him for ransom. Or
yeah.
They just killed him.
And you would have no information on that. Neither would RK, right?
No, I'm kind of speculating. Or did they kidnap him to get more money from the corporation? Did they do it to spite the leader, or is it just because they're in a feud and they just wanted to be we hate you, so we took your lover and we're gonna take our all our negative thoughts towards him because he's partially connected to you, kind of like that sort of thing. Just as I said, spite. So I'm just seeing maybe probable cause or something. But my only interest, as I'm not considering, mostly because flying is just the thing I mostly do in air. So the only thing I will be interested in is actually looking at this scene, because that's the only thing I can be useful with.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would just be staying in my ship and doing maintenance. So I would be interested in heading towards the scene of the kidnapping that happened a week ago.
So did you actually spend any experience points yet, or did you hold on to them? I didn't catch that.
No, I held on.
Okay.
I basically just through explanation, I said coercion didn't work for him, so he's like, yeah, fear mongering is not going to work for him. Maybe he can work with something like charm, or like use his charm and maybe perception. Maybe he could focus on perceiving to see if he can actually investigate. He's not like ace detective, but maybe he could spot something that RK or someone else didn't.
So you didn't spend any experience point. Okay.
Basically, sorry for it being long-winded. I like to explain stuff.
It's fine. So we get to the end of this, little beginning portion of our session where we get everybody in what they've done and what's going on. And I think that to complicate matters a little bit, we see that you all are probably all of you want to go and check out the scene, right? I assume.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. No.
You're not gonna go with them to check out the scene of the
mean,
crime,
if
Jax?
everyone's gonna go, like I'll go. But if we're like talking about what we should do, I was gonna do something else. But I wouldn't necessarily avoid, like, if we're all like we're all like, all right, let's go check out the scene, then I'd be like, sure. But if other people were doing other things, that isn't necessarily my first
suggestion.
Yeah.
You could do that. You would be useful with.
So maybe we get that, like, everybody's done with their training. We need to pick a direction to go, right? So what do you all decide is the best next course of action? You've got all the information you can basically get from RK. He's told you everything that he needs to know. You know that you're looking for a male human. You don't have a name. You have a description, kind of sandy blonde, short cropped hair. Very, I would say, handsome would be used to describe him. Almost regal looking a little bit.
During the preparing and everything, is it safe to say that Mouse would have told Jax? I'm asking Toasty, I guess. That Mouse told Jax about the data pad that he needs to decrypt, but it's Imperial. Because I wasn't with you guys when that happened.
I don't know. Like, I don't think Mouse has really told anybody else about it.
All right, cool.
Because there's a chance that it could get fried, and considering Mouse is probably the best with computers here, she doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So what's if Jax, you said you have other things to do that would help, what would be your suggestion then?
Well, Jax was gonna go try and talk to, see if he could find any, probably not Harvey, but I'm assuming if Jax has had dealings with Corellia before, he might know some people who are part of the underworld, and just to see if he could hear any rumors going around about the kidnapping or anything like that.
Sure.
He's not sure he's going to be able to achieve anything by going and looking at a 1 week old crime scene.
Sure. So I think that that's going to constitute a roll here. And I think it's going to be a hard criminal underworld roll. Corellia not being your home planet, I'm going to add a black dice to it. Just to see if you can find a contact, make a contact,
cool, have a contact,
etc. So and ready whenever you are.
Underworld.
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't know shit.
Okay. So I think that maybe you go to some like criminal dens, right? Like maybe you're like, I'm gonna go see if I can schmooze some people, or I'm gonna go see if I can if I have any contacts, and just it's strikeout after strikeout. Nobody wants to talk to you. Nobody wants to say anything. Nobody wants to do anything. Your knowledge of the area is not strong enough in this instance to muscle through that.
Cool.
Does anyone else have any ideas? I mean, it's open to you guys. You guys can attack it in whatever way you want.
Mouse was more wanting to check the crime scene.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. I don't got any other tricks up my sleeve.
Okay. So what about?
Dan's pretty good at talking to people, so he wants to find maybe some witnesses or something.
Okay, yeah. You go there and like maybe there's some shops across the street or some like business area that maybe it has a good vantage point. You can go talk to them and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's 100% a cool thing to do. What about you, Ken? or are you just along for the ride in this instance?
Well, it's Kin is kind of split on this, but he would usually follow Mouse, but right now he's following Dash's lead. This is his kind of his operation, so he kind of just hangs around Dash.
Question.
Yeah.
Where were you leaving RK? I don't want to leave him on the ship if someone identified us.
Well,
I kind of want him to be with us.
You want to take him with you, like so he can show you like where things happened and
that, and I also think like if someone actually profiled us or if they were following us, because I don't know how this cartel works. I don't want my ship raided and my mentor killed. So yeah, I prefer safekeeping. I'm taking with him. Plus, we got a droid fire. He can knock some heads in.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. RK can certainly hang out and come around with you guys for sure.
Who's the shooty guy? Oh no, wait, he wandered up. We have Mouse. And
I mean, after striking out at all the bars, I will eventually head to you guys.
Until I find a better image. Here's RK.
Where?
Where?
You just use the image I showed you.
Yeah, I don't know if you want that.
Yeah, as I've struck out everywhere, I will head to the crime scene because I know that's roughly where you guys will be. And Jordan, you can just tell me when it's appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys, you don't own a speeder of yourselves, so you take like a taxi or whatever, public transit maybe, and you get in the area that RK was describing, and actually it's probably in like industrial park portion of the capital. There's like factories, and there's probably a little bit of like smog or like burnt sulfur smell in the air. It's dark. All the buildings are kind of drab and brownish. Not like the clean plasteel that we would understand like the rest of Coronet to be kind of bedecked in. And upon your arrival there, RK like points out where he was told to bring him.